It's that time again. Time to review a new fragrance. And this fragrance, as you can tell by the description and the title, is another Aventus style fragrance. Inspired by this one right here. Yeah, Creed Aventus. Hey friends, Ash here with Gents Scents. Hope you're doing well. This is not the fragrance we're reviewing, obviously. It's this one right here, Dunhill Desire Gold. I did a first impression on this not too terribly long ago, and I've given it a number of wearings since then, so now it's review time. We're gonna take a look at this presentation, and I'll break it down and let you know how it smells. So let's jump into it. Let's start things off taking a look at the presentation. Here we've got the box. You've got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration all there on the front. It's a pretty basic box, not too much going on. Nothing at the top, nothing on the sides. You have the ingredients on the back of the box, and on the bottom, your batch code and your barcode. Your batch code here is KJ03. And here we have the bottle for Dunhill Desire Gold. One thing I'll say right away, this feels better in your hand than the other fragrances in the Dunhill Desire line. One of the main reasons is this top part. It actually feels more put together, whereas this one, can you hear that? It just kind of rattles and shakes around. Yeah, you can see right there. Just doesn't feel as put together. This one though, feels much sturdier. Of course, that could just be my bottle, but in my experience with the Desire line, typically they feel really cheap in the hand, but this one feels pretty nice. So on the front here, you've got the name of the house, Dunhill, London, has this nice reflective gold paint color to it. And another good thing about this, not really a fingerprint magnet. You can hold this thing and do whatever with it, and when you look at it, no smudges. So that's nice. It's like a flask. You open it up like so, atomizer up here at the top that does click into place. On the bottom, you have your sticker with your batch code. Now, if you watch the first impression of this fragrance, one thing that you probably noticed is the atomizer. It was complete trash, complete crap when I used it in the first impression. I'll go ahead and waste the spray for you here. As you can see, it has actually come around. It took maybe 10, 15 sprays of this thing where it would just do like a little spurt and then not really spray anything. But now it's actually working really well. As you can see there, it's a nice controlled mist. So if you do buy this and the atomizer is complete crap when you first spray it on, be aware that over time and with more use, it should get better. Probably. And I talked to my friend Tommy at Studio Scents. He also bought this fragrance. He had the exact same thing happen to him. His first number of sprays were no good. So that could be something that's just across the line here. Okay, let's go ahead and break down the fragrance. As of me filming this video, nobody knows what the notes for this are. Nobody. I can't find it anywhere. It's really weird. Dunhill just kind of released this and there's no information about it. No press release. Not a note breakdown, not on their website, nada. Now, it's not the first time I've ever seen that happen. Other houses have done this. I mean, last year I saw it 2 or 3 times where a fragrance would come out and it would be for sale. And then maybe, 2-3 months later, you would actually be able to find the notes and things like that. So I'm assuming that before too long, that information will be available for this one. And I could be completely wrong here, but I think this might have been made for a market other than the North American market. It's for sale at Fragrance Buy. That's where I bought this one, and I'll leave a link in the description in case you're interested. They're based up in Canada, but they do ship to the US and they ship quickly in case you're worried about that. But anyway, the only other places you'll find this are stores, it looks like centered in the Middle East. So it's possible that this fragrance was meant more for that market and it found its way here through Fragrance Buy. And maybe that's why we haven't really seen anything in terms of note breakdowns or press releases or anything like that. Okay, all that out of the way. This is an Aventus style fragrance. You'll notice it right away. If you know how this smells at all, when you spray this one on, it's immediately apparent. It's not something where you could go, oh, maybe they were going for something different. Nah, they sure weren't. They looked at this and they were like, hey man, maybe that. As of this video, this is going for about 40 bucks. If I had to guesstimate in the future, assuming it's not going to be a really limited release, it should get down to the price range that the others in the line go for, which means that you should be able to pick this up down the road for about 25 bucks or so, 25, 30. But still, yeah, 40 bucks is not so bad. This one, when it first opens up, you get this really nice fruity blast. It's gonna give you a good amount of bergamot, which gives you kind of that pineapple-y feel that you get from Creed's Aventus. Now, one thing that I said in the first impression of this is that it was really super fruity and that I was getting no smoke really. Now, what's interesting about this is as I've worn it more, I have definitely picked up a little bit of that smokiness. And when I had my wife smell this one, she actually said that she got more smokiness than fruitiness, which I was not entirely expecting. But when you very first spray this one on, which I just did a spray right here, you do get more of that fruitiness. You don't get as much of the smokiness, but as it dries down, it does come out some. Now, it's not a hyper realistic smelling birch. It's not going to put you anywhere near the quality of Creed's Aventus. Let's just get that out of the way right away. But it does give you a really nice approximation of that. So you're gonna get this fruity sweetness initially, that bergamot kind of feeling. You do get a touch of tartness in there, which would typically be associated with black currant if we're talking about actual Creed Aventus. Also wouldn't surprise me if they threw an apple note in here in the top. And then as it dries down further, it turns into more of a very, very light smoky woods and musk. So while initially I thought this was gonna be just full on fruit all the way in the first impression, it does take a little bit of a balanced turn as it dries down, and it kind of tries to do both sides of Creed Aventus. You get, fruitiness initially, and then a little bit of that woodiness as it dries down. I think between this one and Mont Blanc Explorer, and I bring that up because it's the most well-known designer fragrance version of Creed's Aventus, I would take Explorer, and it's not really close. I think that Explorer overall is gonna be the better fragrance. It's a little bit more unique, and I know that sounds funny because it's kind of an Aventus style fragrance, but when you smell them side by side, you can see that Explorer is kind of doing its own thing. Some people might call it designer Aventus, but it does its own thing. It's not trying to do the exact same thing Aventus is. This one is a little closer to trying to be Aventus. It does smell nice though, for sure. Very nice smelling fragrance, which is not a surprise because this one is loved by so many people. So when you try to, really emulate it, not a surprise that it would be a really pleasing fragrance. And this one is. I mean, if you're looking for compliments, you're looking for attention, this one can certainly do that for you. Yes, it is kind of Aventus on a budget. Performance-wise, this one is pretty average in terms of longevity, 5 to 6 hours. After that point, it's sitting really close to the skin. You can sometimes pick up a waft here or there, but not really a beast. And then in terms of projection, best in the first 45 minutes or so, when those fruity top notes are really pushing out. After those notes burn away, it's not really a strong projector at that point. But like I said, it can be a little sneaky, and sometimes you'll think this is gone and catch a whiff of it, and you'll be like, oh, it's still there. And a lot of fragrances that have that sort of Aventus DNA share that aspect. In terms of seasons, this one is gonna be more spring and summer for me. Could also wear it in fall. Like Creed Aventus that it's emulating, a lot of versatility here. This one does lean more of a daytime wear Aventus style fragrance for me than it does nighttime though. So Dunhill Desire Gold is interesting to me because this is yet another designer house that is entering into the Aventus style fragrance fray. So like I said before, we've got Perry Ellis America, Mont Blanc Explorer, now we have Dunhill Desire Gold, and surely others will follow down the road. I like the way this one smells, not a surprise though, because it is emulating Creed's Aventus. For me, in terms of a score, I'm gonna give this one 3.5 gold bars. And that's out of 5 possible gold bars. The reason I rate it that way is it does smell nice. It's not very expensive. The price should continue to go down, and I'm factoring that in as well. Ultimately, the things detracting from it is that this is an Aventus style fragrance at the end of the day, which has been done to death. And I don't know that I would necessarily place this one, you know, way above the existing clone fragrances like Haramain L'Aventure, for example, or even Club de Nuit Intense Man. Though I will say this one is much less harsh than Club de Nuit Intense Man. So there we go, Dunhill Desire Gold. Not too bad, not too bad, but at the end of the day, it is an Aventus style fragrance. So, I mean, again, how many times am I gonna do this? How many times am I gonna review a fragrance? And I go like, you know what this smells like? You'll never guess. So there we go, Dunhill Desire Gold. If you're in the market for an Aventus style fragrance, feel free to check it out. I think that Explorer would be my first recommendation, but Desire Gold, not bad either. And it'll give you kind of a different take on that Aventus style fragrance. And if you want to shy away from the Middle Eastern clones of Aventus and you want designer style Creed Aventus, hey, Dunhill's got you covered. If you smelled that one, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. As always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.